Good morning, football, everybody. It is Tuesday, January 9th. Kay and Nate and Peter and Kyle and lots of coffee. Not that we need it, right?
Oh, yeah, we're hyped right now. Oh, yes.
We are talking about all the things going on leading up to the throwdown round, or as you might like to call it, the divisional round. Not us, though. We're here at #GMFB. Who's excited to see John Gruden's press conference?
Nobody does press conferences like the Raiders.
What can I expect? You guys tell me.
Showmanship. The Vegas is coming. John Gruden is the rock star. I think it's going to be a show. It's going to be intense.
I just want to hear him say Spider Y2 Banana Sluggo Seam.
Yeah, turkey hole, man. I want to hear that.
That's what I wanted to hear. Your impression.
This guy here, man.
This guy he can do it all.
At the podium live right here on NFL Network at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific for those of you on the West Coast. We can't wait for that. But we have two huge rematches coming our way in the throwdown round. So let's dive into those with a segment that we are calling Rematch Rewind. So let's get it going. Time for the lead block. Week one.
Let's go all the way back. Guys, this is weird. I'm going to tell you ahead of time. Saints, Vikings. There's Adrian Peterson. He was on the Saints. Truly, this is his old team, and this is probably his best play as a Saint, right up the middle to set the tone. You're like, oh, man, all day is back. It's going to be a long, long year if anybody trying to tackle him. It was for a while, but he ended up with the Cardinals. It was very odd. Either way, Adrian Peterson back on the field. Obviously not this weekend. Second quarter, guys. Peterson on the sidelines when we saw the exchange with him and Payton. It was tied at 3. And
that was this game?
Yes, and look at this. This is Mark Ingram, who's stuffed by that Vikings defense. Is going to be running. Here it comes. Let's take the ball and run it right up there at Donkey, he said. Peyton's like, I'm sending you to the Cardinals in a few weeks, which he eventually did. Now, Sam Bradford is in the building, guys. Sam Bradford came out and actually looked really, really good. With down 6-3 early, Sam came out and started dealing. I'm not talking checkdowns. I'm going touchdowns to Stephon Diggs. Look at that, fist pumps. He was feeling it. This was the year for Sam Bradford.
I'm going to stick in the rhyme.
Hey.
He was dealing to Diggs. He was dealing to Thielen.
No! Peter's still rapping from the last segment. And here comes Diggs again. Nate, you remember this one?
I remember this back shoulder fade. He was balling and punched it in the stands.
All right, so if you think they're balling now, look at Bradford on the sideline as we go to the fourth quarter. Guys, they're going to be up. Look at the Vikings now. That's Dalvin Cook. Remember how good he was. It was him. It was a Kareem Hunt or him for the rookie of the year. Balling.
He broke a record in this game, right? It was
he was breaking every record.
Single-game rookie record that was held by Adrian Peterson.
You know what, Nate? You nailed it. You're on fire today, and you're right. Then we finished up with a Kyle Rudolph touchdown. The Vikings looked great. The Saints looked vulnerable. They have a terrible start to the season. But the fascinating thing about this game as it pertains to this weekend, no Bradford, no Dalvin, none of that out there. He's not out there for the Saints. 29-19, they went on to win it, and now they play again this weekend, guys.
Peter, so what's the one thing out of all those things that Kyle sort of mentioned there, the one biggest, most important change from then until now with those two squads?
The biggest change was a guy that wasn't even on that highlight. I'm talking about the emergence of an MVP candidate at quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, one Case Keenum. We've known Case Keenum in this league before. Case Keenum started a ton of games for the Texans and the Rams, but this wasn't the old Case Keenum this season. The old Case Keenum used to come out there and be a game manager. This is him on the Texans, throwing some interceptions. Then he came on to the Rams and kind of held Jared Goff off, but he was never going to be the guy that was going to hurt you as an opposing defense. It was almost like, don't hurt us as an offense, Case. Don't throw the ball away, just get enough done. Then there was Case Keenum on the Vikings, 11-3, 21 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Not only did he fill in beautifully for Sam Bradford, they got better play at the quarterback position. Okay, we do a blind resume on this show. You want to give me Drew Brees' numbers? I'll give you Case Keenum's this year. You want to give me Tom Brady's numbers? I'll give you Case Keenum's this year. Case Keenum had an insane season. And just look at the difference that we got from Case Keenum this year to the first 4 years of his career.
Wow.
He was 9-15 as a starter, 11-3 here.
Crazy.
He's only averaging 216 yards, 243. How about those touchdowns? He had almost as many touchdowns in one season in only 14 games, and he did his entire career before this. And that last part, the passer rating. The most important part of this, though, Case Keenum has help. I'm looking at Diggs. I'm looking at Rudolph. I'm looking at Thielen. And then so everyone is talking about that Vikings defense and how that is their only shot. And that's how they're going to ride this thing. I think they've got a great quarterback, and that's the biggest difference from that Week 1 game. They got a quarterback in Case Keenum who's not only ready to win games in the regular season and get them over the line. I think this is a guy that can take them to the Super Bowl. This is a guy that can win them a Super Bowl.
No disrespect to Blake Bortles, but I feel like people like to lump those two in a box together just because the defenses are so standout. Like the Vikings defense, the Jags defense, and then you have Blake Bortles and Case Keenum. That's not they're not in the same box. Like Case Keenum is right up there with Drew Brees and playing like it. And it's crazy to think just a year ago or a couple of years ago, Case Keenum's wife is more famous than
on Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks, isn't
In
it?
the kitchen, helping him learn his playbook for the Rams.
And it was all about her, not Case Keenum, who's now hosting a game, and they might be hosting a Super Bowl and playing in it. It's wild to me.
What about you, Ken?
To me, the other side of the ball, there's been a lot of changes since that loss for the Saints to the Vikings in Week 1. Of course, the first thing you think of is the run game, and you saw it out there with Adrian Peterson, who they, of course, dealt to the Cards a week later. Alvin Kamara barely got his feet wet in this first game, but I'm looking at the defensive side of things. So Ken Crowley didn't even get a start until Week 3 of the season. I remember those first 2 games, and it was like woof, because Week 2, they went and took on the Patriots, and they lost in despicable fashion. And then Week 3 up against the Panthers, the Saints got a win there. The Panthers didn't look good at all at that point in the season, so I didn't really pay attention to it. Week 4, they go to London and they take the Dolphins on. They shut them out. And I remember even then, I'm like, but it's Jay Cutler. It's also in London, which you never, like, it's always sort of a weird game. But that's where, to me, the turning point was the Dolphins, if you really look back at it, because you had a shutout and you had Kamara's breakout game. He had nearly 100 yards, so everything started coming together. When they took on the Lions and they got home in Week 6 after their bye, this is just the way I'm looking back at this. This is the game you have Vaccaro, Lattimore, and Cam Jordan all scoring defensive touchdowns. This is my underappreciated storyline that week. So I'm like, well, there's something with this defense. It's not just shutting out Jay Cutler, who we don't respect as much as we should, and all of that. This is when the defense became actually legit to me. And since then, it has been all of that. That whole swag, the camera, that all started Week 6. That's been all coming on the map because all of those defensive touchdowns, 3 in that one game up against the Lions, who are a great team. So that's where I think has changed on the defensive side of the ball, and it's gelled with the emergence, of course, of the run game. So now that balance, that completeness happened like week after week.
And before we move on, for the Vikings, Latavius Murray. Talk about guys stepping up and emerging. Cook going down. Latavius has played very well at the running back position. Good stuff. What do we got next, Kay?
I think we're going to do some highlights, right? We're going to go back to Week 5 and take a look at what the Steelers and the Jags did. A lot of interceptions here.
Yes, definitely. Jaguars up against the Steelers. It's Jaguars. Somebody on Twitter correct me. Let me get that right. All right, Week 9.
It's Week 18.
Peter Roethlisberger looking for Vance McDonough. I finally got it right. Intercepted by Jalen Ramsey. Okay, that was Ben Roethlisberger's first interception of the day. Okay, second quarter, Steelers leading 9-7 at this point. Interception by Telvin Smith. 10 toes down. He gets 10 toes down in the end zone.
He do ball till he dies.
Do ball till he dies. That was Roethlisberger's first pick 6 in 2008. All right, big man dropping back. He's looking for Antonio Brown. It's batted by Jalen Ramsey, intercepted by Barry Church. Take him to church. Hallelujah. And the church says, amen. Does a little Marshawn Homa. I'm not going to say it. But there we go. The Jaguars, they lead 20-9. That was his second pick 6 in 4 attempts. How about that? All right, fourth quarter now. Steelers still trailing 23-9. Still in this. Another interception. Looking for Juju. Interception by safety to Sean Gibson. Just throws it. All right, okay, Big Ben unsnapping the helmet. Okay, Steelers possession.
Still only down 2 scores.
Still only trailing 2 scores. And here is another interception. The second interception by Deshaun Gibson. That's Ben Roethlisberger's 5th interception of the game. That is a career high. He went out there and really Peterman this up. But check this out. Look at Leonard Fournette. He gone. 90 yards for the TD. My man was explosive, and they were doing it on every single side of the ball. The Jaguars, they beat up on the Steelers 30-9. It was an amazing game. And listen, for what it's worth, they went out there and they've been walking that walk every single weekend. But before they walk the walk, they've been talking.
Yes, they have.
John, what do you think's not happening in the passing game right now?
You know what, Nate? I think I'm going to go for it. I'll talk some talk over here if that's cool. That's what I'm told to do anyway. Roethlisberger throws the 5 picks as Nate looked out. And there's a shot that wasn't in the highlight where he goes in the bench, takes off his helmet, and just kind of looks to the sky like this, like, is this it? And then sure enough, after the game, he throws 5 picks, worst game of his career. He has this to say.
John, what do you think's not happening in the passing game right now?
I'm not playing well enough.
You doing anything different? Why is that?
Don't think so, but maybe I am. Maybe I don't have it anymore.
What makes you think?
Ben, do you see it? It's not playing well enough.
Ben, is it a case of obviously some unusual things, some fluky things happen on those interceptions?
Yep, that's the way the ball bounces sometimes. You play this game long enough, you're going to get those games.
So you see that. It's a bit of an eye roller because Ben's always a little dramatic with his future and whatnot. And he says, maybe I don't have any more. I don't know. Sure enough, though, he gets asked about it all week. A few days later, he comes out on the radio and he says, fact is, I'm one of the best in the world to do what I do. I'm one of the best that's ever done it. And sure enough, from that moment, when he says, maybe I don't have any more, the Steelers proceed to win 8 straight games. They did not lose for over 2 months. And Ben's just, I don't need to tell you guys, but he's kind of just him. He's the 250 yards, couple touchdowns, maybe a pick, just win, plain. And then we get to that Ravens game, all right? In this season, we have seen Roethlisberger play the worst game of his career, and I think the best game of his career. In a game in which Juju Smith-Schuster was suspended, not out there in the field, Roethlisberger brings his team back, down 9 points in the fourth quarter against their arch rival in Week 14 without Juju. Ben threw for 506 yards and 2 touchdowns with no picks. It was Hall of Fame Ben on display. Mojo, swagger, whatever you want to have. He had it all back and was best player in the game with 84. So you go on now, you move forward in the story of Ben Roethlisberger. They lose this crazy game to New England. He makes a critical error at the end of the game. And then sure enough, guys, bringing us to this matchup, Ben comes out and breaks format, the code of conduct for quarterbacks. You never say who you want to play, whatever. He says, yeah, I'd like to see the Jaguars. I truly would. I want to see them. Sure enough, A.J. Boye, the great corner, comes out and says, quote, be careful what you wish for. This is what he wanted, so he is going to get it. So Ben has played great football since that infamous day, and now we both know each other's on the radar, and we see how it shakes out this weekend. But, whew,
what are you feeling about it, your gut feeling of how it's going to shake out?
I believe in the Jacksonville defense. I really, really do. I think that it is not going to be a shootout. I think the Jacksonville defense is going to come to play. And I mean, they're going to hold the Pittsburgh to 17 points, something like that.
Yeah.
But I think they can still win by double digits.
Really specific.
Yeah, 17. I'm on record.
Way to go.
I read the highlights and I got excited. I tried to do my dramatic toss to the sound because I wanted to remind you guys of what these guys have been doing all season. We're familiar with the plays, but are you familiar with the sound behind the players? Check it out.
I told him almost every play that he was weak, that he was soft. That demonstrate facts. He just couldn't handle the truth. It was facts. Told him that his time almost up. Told him that it was easy, which it was. He had 1 catch for 6 yards.
This week is hashtag 10 toes down. You feel me? And what that mean is whatever Gip said, I'm 10 toes down with him. That's my guy.
Facts.
You know what I'm talking about? That's my brother. So I'm standing with him. You know what I mean? It's like your brother standing out there in the middle of everything and say something. I ain't backing down from it. So he ain't backing down, I ain't backing down, and that's our mentality.
All right, we were sorry last year, but we not this year. We ain't talking about last year. Y'all gotta stop, man. Y'all gotta stop doing that, man. The media, y'all do that too much. Y'all be hyping people up. Y'all hype teams up. Stop doing that, man. Y'all gotta stop doing that. It's a new year. It's a new week. Everything. It's new big dogs in around the NFL.
I think it's a little bit of people aren't used to getting beat like that by the Jaguars. We just beat the crap out of you for 60 minutes. I think this team definitely plays with a little bit of an edge.
Hey, shout out to the Jags, man. You know I love trash talk. I grew up watching Gary Payton every single season talk trash with the best of them. And these guys have been walking the walk. But like I said, before they were walking the walk, they've been talking that talk. Shout out to the Jags.
So the big things that changed since week 1 in these teams, which one are you most worried about of those changes? I'd say the Saints defense. And you guys know that I love the Saints.